Hello everybody, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode number 236 for October the 10th, 2023. And today is Thanksgiving Monday here in Canada. Happy Turkey Day to all of my Canadian subscribers. Okay, let's jump right into what my current projects are and talk a little bit about these. So, this one, I just completed the top. This is called Posh Santa, and it's done with a really special ruler, and the ruler is called the QC, let me get it and I'll show it to you. And so here it is. Let me put a piece of white paper behind it. There we go. It's called the QCR Mini. I think it stands for Quilter's Curved Ruler. There's a bigger one than this too, and it comes with a set of instructions. And the pattern, this one called Posh Santa by So Kind of Wonderful. So Kind of Wonderful, yeah. It's the name of the company that makes this ruler as well. You can just do a search on Google and you'll find their site. I think it's just So Kind of Wonderful, all one word.com. And yeah, I've seen this pattern before, and I've thought about doing it before, but I never bothered to buy it. But then when we were in Cambridge there a few weeks ago, I saw it on the wall and the ruler was right there too. So I picked the pattern and the ruler up, and it's a little confusing when you first read the instructions on how to use it, but if you study it for a few minutes, you can figure it out. I did, so if I figured it out, you can figure it out. And this is what I created. Sewing the curves was really easy with this ruler because they made the blocks that have the curves in it oversized. So then they show you how to trim them down. And so, you know, if you weren't that accurate in, you know, starting the circle or finishing it up, you know, you had an overhang or something like that, no worries, because you just trim it down and they're perfect. And you can see it worked out fine. Now, some criticism of this piece of work right now. This is just the top. I haven't quilted it yet. I'm thinking about, when I quilt it, I think I have a pattern, or I know I can get one, of snowflakes, little snowflakes with little swirls around them. And I think that might look really cool done in a sort of a silvery color, silvery gray across it. I don't want it to overpower the beard of the Santa, because that's a principal part of this piece. So I'll see what the pattern will be like. It's just the size of a wall hanging. It's not huge. The dimensions are, I don't know what they would be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 40, probably about 46 inches by 52, something like that. It's not huge, but it'll make a nice Christmas decoration if I decide to keep it. I might give it away. I don't know yet. So we'll see. Actually, I'm thinking maybe my sister might like it. But one criticism I have of my work here, the curves and everything sewed up really well, but I should have used a slightly darker shade of background fabric. That would have made the beard show up a little bit better. It shows up okay here, but you know, in this picture, when you see it on the wall, you have to look at it for a second or two, and then you see, oh yeah, that's Santa's face, that's the beard. Possibly even used a darker color for the nose and the eye. Yes, there's only one eye. Somebody asked me this yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live. No, he's only got one eye. He's supposed to look, I think, like he's winking at you, kind of a thing. It's a very modern design. He's Posh Santa, after all. But, you know, I thought about, well, Walter thought about, he said, you know, why don't you do a stitch in the ditch around the beard with a darker shade of thread, like a darker gray or something? Well, I tried that, started to try it. I did not like the way it was looking. It cheapened it, I thought, by doing that. So I'm just leaving it as it is, and that's the way it's going to be. Yeah, you can be really picky about the things you create and dwell on it and spend a lot of time. But you want to know something? I was more interested in trying this technique and using that ruler than I was with the final outcome, although I am reasonably pleased with the final outcome of this. So, it's just other people in my life who like to be super critical. But anyways, I was working on that, and okay, I'm saving that. That's not yet. There's something else. Oh, there. I don't think you saw it. You have seen this. I finished it now. And what I mean by finished it, it's all quilted. It is bound. And I should have taken a picture of the backing fabric on this, and I didn't, because it was some gnome fabric that's really cute. And they're gnomes, and it's meant for fall as well. So I'm pretty pleased with the way this turned out. It was applique. It was not a hard thing to do. It was pretty easy. And I have this rolled up, and it's designated as a possible gift for somebody down the road. I like to have a lot of things built up as far as gifts, because you never know when you need a last minute gift for somebody. You're being invited to somebody's place for dinner. Of course, nobody invites us except my sister for dinner. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, I think it's kind of cute. Actually, it might make a cute gift for Walter's niece. I wonder if she's into gnomes. That might be fun. Anyways, we'll see. So those are the things that I have been working on. I am working on something else. You can see it over my right shoulder. Let's see, left shoulder, that one. Yeah, the other right. Those things on black hanging up there, those are going to eventually be a table runner that I'm making as a gift for a friend of ours, someone Walter sews with. And she's celebrating her 60th birthday very soon, and she's having a big blowout for it. So we have been officially invited to this blowout. She's going in a community center for this. There's food, there's booze, there's dancing, music, all that kind of stuff. It has a theme. 1960s. So Walter ordered some fabric from Spoonflower, and he's hoping he gets it in time to be able to make us a couple of shirts in sort of that mod 1960s style kind of thing. But in the meantime, I'm making her this gift. Red is one of her favorite colors, and I want to make a very elegant table runner for her, and I have made one using this pattern before. Now, it isn't in the hoop embroidery machine project. However, I'm doing my own take on it. What I mean by that is this was not a full-fledged project. It was a block. It's Dresden, a Dresden plate block. And I have edited it in such a way that I can make these medallions with it. And you can't see it in this picture, but you will get a closer look at this in another week or two as I progress with it. But there is quilting as well in it. And so my idea is I will put this all together, 4 blocks, along with some sashing and borders and the whole bit. And I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the sashing, whether it'll just be, I know what fabric I want to use for the sashing, but whether or not I do some sort of embroidery on the sashing as well, or I'm actually thinking of possibly doing a decorative type stitch, making the sashing a little bit on the thin side. I don't want a really wide sashing, and doing maybe a simple line of decorative stitching on using my M7 sewing machine on it. I don't know. I have to experiment with this. But my end result is I'm hoping this will look elegant, something you might put out on your table when you're entertaining guests or something like that, and I hope that she's going to like it. Each one of those little blocks take 201 minutes. That's over, well, that's almost 2.5 hours to do. That's not counting the time you have to stop the machine and change the thread color. But that's okay. I have made a couple of these table runners using the same method and a similar design. One for us, I made it a long time ago when I first got into machine embroidery. And another one is in my Christmas stash of decor, which are all in the crawl space. As a side note, I will be showing you all of the things as part of my parade of quilts that I've been starting here on my vlog every week, a little piece of, when I dig those all out this year. And I'm thinking, I should maybe not be keeping them in the crawl space They're in a big sealed, zippered plastic kind of thing. Maybe that's not a good idea for them. Maybe I should take them out. The only thing is I don't know where to put them. I'm running out of space. Oh no, I'm not running out. I have run out of space. It's just that simple. So we shall see what we shall see, I guess. Having said that, I just had a note about where I could make storage space. But anyways, I'm going off topic. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I've been working on this week. I'm also going to start the Scrappy Cat quilt that you all selected for me. Now, the winner out of those three, remember this is for the 4S collab group with Stephanie Stitches, Slay Arts, which is Shannon Way, Sean from The Guy Who Sews, and myself. And we had you select the pattern you want each of us to do, and you picked the Scrappy Cats, which I'm really happy about. And let me grab the first block of that. So this is the pattern that you picked, and I'm glad you did, because this was the one I wanted to do. I want to do all of them actually, but this was the one I really want to do. Now, I've had this pattern for a long time, and when I pulled it out to start working on it, I realized that I had started this some time ago when I first actually got into quilting. And well, there's a problem with the instructions. Let me put this camera over here and show you what I mean. Here is the pattern, okay? Now here are the instructions. Okay, so you've got your fabric requirements. Then you've got something about techniques, and this confused me to no end. Because essentially this whole thing's made up of half square triangles. So down in the bottom here, they talk about how you do half square triangles, but here they call it something stop, stitch, trim, open, and press method. Tell you how this works, but I have no idea what this diagram's all about in comparison to what they show you here about putting the blocks together. It really confused me, and it must have confused me at that point a long time ago, because I started to take pictures and draw out my, get the right one, and draw out my own map of how to put this thing together. And then I guess I must have abandoned it. I must have got really frustrated, because then I saw this on this side. This says background cutting layout. Okay. So you take your background fabric and you cut all these little pieces out, but then you get to the assembly instructions and there's basically nothing. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So this was very confusing, and I read it over and over and tried to analyze and look at what they were doing, and I finally gave up, and I went to this diagram I had made some time ago and analyzed this and redid that. So I now have a new method. I'm not even following their instructions. I'm just following their layout for the pieces. So I made the first block. Now, I got this all done, and this was very frustrating when I was doing it, because I am geometrically challenged. You've heard me say that before. For something happens in my brain. I see a shape in one spot, I go to put that shape in another spot, and I flip it, turn it upside down, whatever. And that's very obvious here. I thought I had this all completely done, and then I looked at it before Walter saw it, and look, not this side, the other side. This is very awkward. Okay. See that bottom left-hand corner? It's got a half square triangle. That doesn't look right, does it? No, it's not, because that whole strip is upside down. It's easy fix taking that out, but I put it in upside down. So this is what I'm talking about. Because I am geometrically challenged, this is going to be much more complex for me than I thought. In fact, I thought this one was going to be pretty easy because, you have all the same blocks, right here, you have all the same blocks and everything. So no big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal. Now, I'm sure as I get working at this, I'll solve all those problems. You know, I'll get it down to a routine. But right now, that's what I'm doing. It will work. Now, you may be wondering what I'm going to be using for the fabric. I am using a fat quarter bundle that I bought some time ago, and it's Chroma by Northcott. And it's all like kind of mottled and marbled colors in, you know, the rainbow across. And that's what I'm going to do. So each cat, actually, I think there's 23 kitties on this. I'm going to do each cat in a different color scheme, kind of a thing. Actually, I'll do probably 2 in the same color scheme with this. That's my plan anyways. I'm going to use a white background. They look like they used a gray. That's okay. I have lots of white. So with a slight pattern to the white, you know, subtle pattern. And that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to fix that mistake later today. And I'll start working on it over the next few weeks. I mean, I have until sometime in January to get it finished for the final reveal. I've got time, but you know how time flies when you're having fun or when you're trying to put together pieces of a puzzle like this. Anyways, yeah. It just wouldn't be me if I didn't find a pattern that gives me grief. I seem to attract those kind of patterns. Don't know why. Okay, so those are the things that I have been up to this week. What's coming up? Well, some reminders here. Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, as usual, Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. Links in the notes below. If you can join us for a while or all day, please do. Let's talk a little bit about the retreat. As you know, it is sold out. Sold out, it's free. So, yeah, but it's filled, put it that way. I've had a few people drop out. And they let me know, and that was great. I'm glad that they did, because I was able to put in people on the waiting list for that. I still have a couple of people on the waiting list, but don't despair if you're one of them, because there's bound to be, it's 2 weeks away, bound to be some other dropouts as well. And when that happens and I put you on, I will be sure to notify you. So watch your emails for that. A reminder for those of you that are already registered, I am looking for one picture in JPEG format of one of your favorite creations. Send it to me, and I'm going to include that in the slideshow. But you only have until next Saturday, October the 14th. After that, I won't be accepting any more, I think. Mainly because I have to put together the slideshow, and it takes a while to do that. So I want to give myself enough time that I do this and do it right. There's a lot of organization that goes into this, and I'm not complaining about that because I love doing it. I absolutely love doing it. If I didn't love doing it, I wouldn't do it. But a lot of things you don't see are behind the scenes with this. And I am one of those kind of people. I like to be very well organized, and I like to have things done in advance, and I want everything to run smoothly that day, and it will. But I need your help with that. So, here's the first thing you can do for me. If you are sending me an email, whether you're sending me a picture of something or you have a question, would you please make sure that you sign your email with your real full name, first name and last name? Because I did have somebody send me something and they forgot to do that. I had to go through all the names on my registration list, looking at their email addresses that I had recorded to figure out who the person was, and that eats up time. Okay. Some people like to use an alias. Not for this. I've told you this before. No. Real names, please. Okay. Why? Security. 1, my security and your security. My security from the standpoint of view that on the day of the retreat, I want to see your real name or I won't let you in. Okay? So that's an important point. Some of you are not as experienced with Zoom as others. That's fine. But what I want you to make sure of is when you go to join in, when you click on that link, you'll get a box that'll come up. And it will have, part of it will be, asking you. Well, it doesn't really ask you. It just lists what your name is going to be. Now, for some people, depending on how they've set up their Zoom or registered in Zoom, it may come up just with the name of your device. like iPad guest. No, I will not be calling you iPad guest. You need to just simply delete that line out and write in your full first name and last name. Okay, Mary Brown, whatever that is. Okay, if by chance when you do click on the link that day to get in, what'll happen is I get it in something called a waiting room. And it lists everybody that's waiting for me to admit them. And I admit each person one at a time because I will be checking off your name. It's an attendance list, basically, of you and let you in. Now, that doesn't take me very long to do because I have you all listed in alphabetical order by your first names. Okay? It makes it much easier for me to find you on my list because remember, there's 93 of you and one of me, and I check it off. And in you go. However, if suddenly one pops up and it says like iPad guest or Ricky Tikki Tavi or something like that, that's not on my list, then what'll happen is if there's other people also in the waiting room, I'm going to deal with them first because I can get them in faster and then I'll deal with you. So you might be waiting for a few minutes to get in. And then I'm going to grill you. Who are you if I let you in? Because I'm going to have to change your Ricky Tikki Tavi or your iPad guest signature to what your real name is. Okay. Another thing, you have to be able to connect with video and sound. That's the principle behind Zoom, really. Why a picture? Why video? Because it's also a security thing. Many of you I have seen in my pop-up sew days or on the Sewing with Stephanie and Steven and things like that. If I see your face, I may be able, I'll at least recognize you. I might not remember your name, but I'll recognize you as a real human being because bots don't have a video. And I don't want any bots to get in there. So it's all part of the security thing, okay? So right now, if you do not have a working camera, get one before the retreat because you're going to have it. Okay? And if that's a problem for you and you can't get one, let me know. I'll take you off the list and I'll put in a person on the waiting list. Yeah, I know that sounds bad, that sounds cruel, but it's all for the sake of this running smoothly and to make sure we don't get undesirables in. Okay? So please keep that all in mind. These are safety tips. Now, those of you that are registered next weekend, probably next weekend, I will send out another extensive email to you that will have the agenda for the day. It'll tell you who the guest speakers are. It'll tell you what they're going to talk about, when they're going to talk about it, and it'll have other vital information so that the day runs smoothly, including information about the icebreaker cocktail party on the Friday night before. It'll also contain the links. So I've already sent the links out to you for the Zoom when you first registered, but maybe you can't find that email or whatever. Well, you'll get it again, those links again. So don't despair if you can't find that. There'll also be a section in that email with links to YouTube videos that show you how to connect to Zoom using whatever device you happen to be using. Some of you use Android. Well, I don't know how to use an Android. I've never owned an Android product, okay? But also iPads, iPhones, Macs, Windows computers. So I'll have that all there for you as well. With the idea here is if you're unsure of how to connect, this might be might be your first Zoom or you don't use Zoom often, then that's there to help you before the day of the event so that we can have minimal number of technical problems. I will have Walter working with me. He's going to be my technical person, as well as my second set of eyes to, see things that I might miss or whatever. We work as a team on this for that. I actually operate 3 computers and Walter has his when we're doing this. Yes, there's a lot of technology in the background for all of this too. So, when you're taking all these bits and pieces and you're pulling them all together, it can be a bit hairy. But at my end, I might be panicking. On your end, everything should run very smoothly with no problems. And if you've been to one of my retreats before, I am very happy to say that because of all these things I've told you about right now, they do run smoothly. Cross my fingers on that. Okay, so that's all I want to say about the retreat. If you have any questions, just email me. I'll be happy to answer them. All right, so it is the fall and the weather has come in. We are now experiencing what we should be experiencing in October. Last week we had unseasonably high temperatures, as I know other parts of North America have been experiencing as well. For us here in Canada, it's supposed to be cooler now. I'm not really complaining about the heat because I don't mind it. However, it just puts you off, because you expect the seasons to do what the seasons do. Not that we have any control over Mother Nature. But suddenly yesterday, things went to the norm and we're no longer in the double digits. Today, well, we might be. Later today, I think the high they're predicting is going to be 11 degrees Celsius. Right now, it is 7 degrees Celsius. It's brisk, which meant that I had to put on long pants yesterday when I went to my sister's for Thanksgiving dinner, and I had to put on socks, and I had to put on regular shoes, no sandals, and I don't like that. I am still wearing short sleeve shirts at the moment, but that'll probably change very soon as well. So yeah, and I had to put on a jacket. It's times like that when I wish I lived in a warmer climate where I could wear my shorts and my sandals and short sleeve shirts all year round. But it's Canada, and I love my country, and part of Canada is season changes. So we are more into the brisker weather right now. And because it's Halloween is coming up at the end of the month, and we're into fall now, it's time to get out the fall Halloween decor. And I have done that, and I'm going to show you what it looks like this year. All decorated for fall and Halloween. And these are some of the things we've made the past years using the embroidery machine. They're in the hoop designs, freestanding, applique, most of these, and a little set of lights in behind with these 3D printed ghosts, and the skeletons I did not print. Those came from the dollar store. One pumpkin I printed, that orange one. The other ones came from the dollar store. On this table we have another pumpkin, which is a freestanding applique, and some more 3D printed objects here. And those two are the latest addition this year, these zombie head candy bowls. Got to get some candy to put in them yet. Over on the far end table, we have another pumpkin, freestanding applique, and some other 3D printed objects, including the crow. It was 3D printed as well. And that little cauldron, that's a freestanding lace, three-dimensional object. And the little lanterns over here, and all these you can put a light in as well, a little electric tea candle or whatever, LED. What I find is I forget to turn them on. I need ones that'll come on a automatic setting for a better effect. But they're here. And another skull thing, and bust of Frankenstein, that is. And I've got a quilt on the back of the couch. I think I made this one last year with the bats. That was a lot of fun to make, and I like the way it turned out. And I did some spider web edge-to-edge quilting design using Lucy and the Quilt Path program. And if we move around to the refrigerator, these used to go on our old doors because they're magnetic, but we don't have much surface on our doors anymore since we got the glass inserts and that kind of thing. And Walter would probably kill me if I put anything on those doors now because, don't want to wreck the finish on them or anything, so not going to do it, but they look okay on the fridge. Again, these were made with the embroidery machine. Combination of freestanding lace. This is a freestanding lace bat, and the ghost and the spider and the web and the other bat that says Halloween. Those are all in the hoop appliques.
So there's a lot of things you can do with freestanding lace and in the hoop appliques. Now on the dining room table, I have a fall table runner, which I made several years ago. I can't remember how long ago it was that I made that. It was possibly within my first couple of years of quilting. And this one, I actually did the quilting on the embroidery machine because it was a small enough piece that you could manage that. Another quilt. This quilt I think I may have made this one last year as well. This one you've seen before. This one I made this year from a panel with the cats on it in the haunted house. And this one I made a couple of years ago as well. I think it was a kit. And of course you can see what's on it. Gnomes. Yep, Halloween gnomes. Of course I had to have that. And then on this chair, this is one of my very first runners. It was kind of my own design. I was playing with my embroidery machine. It's not the best. The embroidery turned out, but the design is kind of, well, you can tell I was playing with the embroidery machine. And a couple of more things. These were banners that I made, or they could be table runners as well. But I did have those hanging up, I think, on the doors outside before, but not this year. And we go down the stairs, and the one final piece is this one. That one I think I did make last year, and it was designs by Juju, I believe. And I really liked that piece. It was fun to make as well. It took some time, but it was great. But see, you can use your embroidery machine for all kinds of seasonal decor.
So, we went shopping on Thursday last week. Remember I told you about this little quilt store quite a ways north of us, actually. We didn't realize how far it was when we were on the shop hop, but when you're just going there directly, it's over an hour or so this drive, and it's called the Quilters Inn in a little small place called Cameron. Like you blink, you miss the town when you're going through it. And because they had a great selection of wide backs at really good prices. So I had made this idea that, or I had this plan that I was going to go back there and stock up on wide backs. And I did. I bought 21 meters of fabric. And it was it just over $400 with tax? Which is pretty damn good because it worked out to something like $18, $17 a meter. Usually I pay $30 plus per meter for 108-inch wide back fabric. So yeah, that's why I went back up there. We kept the lady busy with the cutting, but I do have some pictures of the wide back that I picked up, and just let me find it here for you. And okay, just bear with me for a second. Things are not cooperating. As soon as I figure out which button to push. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. There's what about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 3-meter bundles of wide back fabric. Now, is this the most beautiful wide back fabric you've ever seen? No, it is not. But it's going to do for the price I paid. So you can see what I picked up when I was there. We went through everything they had. Now, most of this, as I said, averaged out at about $18, $17 a meter. But they did have some wide back that was more expensive, and they had some at 22, 23, which is still good. And they did have some at 30. Now, they had a lot of wide back flannel. I don't use flannel, but after seeing what they had to choose from, I'm thinking maybe I should try putting a flannel backing on one of my quilts at some point in time, because the prices on the flannel was very good as well. So yeah, that's what I picked up. As I said, there's 21. Wait, did I say there's 8? No, there's more than 21. There's 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 7. It's 21 meters of fabric here for a really good price. But while I was there, well, actually, I knew this before we went up, and the reason we went up so soon after the shop hop again is because they called me on Monday and told me I had won the basket. Each shop at the shop hop, you put your name in for a draw for a basket. It's supposed to be a $75 value. So I won the one at Quilters Inn, so I picked that up too. Well, I'll be honest. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I mean, I won something, but it wasn't really my cup of tea, so to speak. Well, I have made a little video showing you what I won and my comments about it. So I'll put that in here right now for you. So I picked up my prize from the shop hop. I won this basket from a little place up north that has a great selection of wide backs at a cheap price. More about that in a future video, or possibly on this one. And yeah, this is my prize for that shop hop. I haven't opened it yet, so I thought I'd do an unboxing. That's the term I wanted. While you're here. So it came all done up in this very nice little bag, and it looks to be some sort of a crate. It says handcrafted with only the finest natural ingredients, and it is a brewing company, Upper Canada Brewing Company. Okay, but there's no beer in this as far as I can tell. All right, so let's take it out and see what we've got. All right, it looks like it's really crammed full of a lot of little things. So let's reach back in here. Fabric samplers, journals, book covers, mini purses, pin cushions. Create wonderful collages with wool, felt, fabric, floss, and accents. Well, this looks like it's full of little ideas for using wool. And I guess hand embroidery as well. And there's patterns in here. Yeah, I'm not so much into hand embroidery. I don't know. That may be something that I'll re-gift, or I don't know. Maybe I'll try a few of the projects in it just to see. You know, never say never when it comes to hand embroidery. Okay, looks like there's some fabric. So there's a fat quarter with Montreal Canadiens, which is a hockey team here in Canada, and the other hockey team, Toronto Maple Leafs. Not sure what I do with those, but I have them. Here's a fat quarter. Story Time by Moda. Some flowery little prints here. That would be useful. 3 meters of 1-inch wide webbing. Oh, okay. Well, I make bags. That will come in handy. And there is a little jar of, looks like they're applique pins, which, again, yeah, little tiny fine pins. Okay, well, I don't use pins that size. They're 3/4 of an inch, it says on here, but again, you never know. Cut right hand gauge. Accurately measure and mark common seam allowances from 1/4 to oh, one of these. Yeah, I think I've got a couple of these somewhere. Oh, a purple thing. I think I had one of those. I never used them. Okay, so far. Yeah. Some bohin applique needles. Looks like there's a theme happening in this. In applique. 2 brown birds. Plum pudding creative card. Trace the patterns, and I guess you make this little lovely thing. Okay, another thing I probably won't do. Oh, hexies, small ones, 1/2-inch hexagons. Okay, there's definitely a theme here. Oh, one of these. Yeah, I bought one of these some time ago. I've never used it. It's the Ruby Beholder. Basically, it's to see, you know, the grayscale or whatever of your fabrics. You look through that, but now, you know, you can do the same thing with your camera. Quick yo-yo maker. Oh, okay. Well, I've never made yo-yos before, but maybe I'll give that a try sometime. And ABC Pocket Guide about needles. Yeah, I've got about 5 of these laying around the house somewhere. Usually these are the kind of things that, well, $4.95 it says on the back here. Usually can get them for nothing. And some tissue paper. Oh, but there's more. Oh, some soak. Pineapple Grove. I've never used it. And ink and stain remover. Okay. I think I bought some of this and it didn't really work worth a crap. Oh, there's something more. Let me put this back in. There is a seam ripper. Okay. All right. To be honest, there's definitely a theme happening here in hand sewing and applique, which I don't do either. Well, I do applique, but in the hoop. But I'm loving this. I love the little box. So the crate, I think, out of this whole gift thing for me, this is probably the best thing. Oh, and yeah, the fat quarter or the charm pack's good too, and the webbing. Okay, but this, and these things you can just go online. Possibly this I'll use. This I won't use. Probably not do hexies. Definitely will probably not do this plum pudding thing. Fat quarters, well, I'm not into sports things, but you never know down the road. Who knows? Maybe they can incorporate into a quilt that I make for maybe like a Project Life kind of quilt. Put those in, kind of a thing for a boy. That might be okay, or for a girl who plays hockey. Okay, so yeah, I have lots of needles. I don't do hand, so yeah. The purple thing, I know a lot of people love these purple things. I don't. I have one somewhere. I've only used it once. Yeah. This handy gauge, have one. Don't use it. And this book, well, this is really hand stuff. So, yeah, probably not. So, basically, out of this gift box, the box is great. Yo-yo makers, yeah, who knows? I might try some of those. Oh yeah, I forgot about the little applique pins. Won't use those. Seam ripper, got lots of them, but I'll throw this in with my ones that I make my gnome seam rippers because I use these as part of those. The webbing, yes. The charm pack, yes. And I guess I'll say yes to the seam ripper because it will go in my supply of seam rippers. The other things, not so much. But didn't cost me anything. And I won, and I never win anything. And so, it's still a great little gift. It's just because I don't hand sew. That maybe not so appropriate to me, but I can probably regift some of these things to some other people. So, as I said in the video, much of that stuff is going in a bag that maybe other people can use. And I think I'll take it with me to the retreat in December, Stephanie's retreat, and say to the ladies that are there, hey, if there's something in this bag you want, take it, it's yours. Because, it's decent stuff. It's just not, I don't hand sew. I don't do hand embroidery. So really, most of that stuff is useless to me. Although I love the little box it came in, and I'm using that. It's on my cutting table right now with projects in it. I love that little box. That was the best part for me of that gift basket. Okay, so for demo this week, I have the second part of my sorting out of small quilted projects to show you. I'm going to put that in here right now. Okay, what else is in this pile? Okay, here's another. It was, this one has a label, 2021. This was my LGBTQ for June Pride banner. It could also be a table runner. And this one was a little unique. I embroidered all of these rainbow colored maple leaves, and I think it turned out pretty nice with that. So this is definitely a keeper. As far as quilting is concerned, I just did walking foot quilting down each of the strips, as you can see. So that one is in my keeper pile. Here's another sort of a combination of Canada Day and Pride Month. Pride maple leaves in the center. Used up some of my old Canada fabric. I'm not so sure I'm fond of the plaid and the gray or even the border, but this one I'm going to keep because I like to have some things for Canada Day to put up. So that will go there. Okay, here's another Halloween banner. Again, I think this was my own design, and these are all embroidered. Each one of these blocks is all embroidered and then put together. And I did walking foot quilting on this one as well. So it's another one for my Halloween display decor. And the backing, you can see the walking foot quilting there, and it's a piece backing as well. I think it was something I threw together. Well, I didn't throw it together quickly, because when you're doing embroidery on each of those parts in here, that takes a while. Halloween, and another Halloween one. Again, this one could be a table runner. It could be a banner. I probably used it as a banner. And again, I did embroidery in each of the blocks. And I just probably used scrap fabric from my stash of Halloween fabrics. In the back, again, pieced, because I probably didn't have a piece of fabric large enough. And yeah, this one does not have a binding on it. It's one of those ones you turn inside out kind of a thing. I think they're called the pillowcase method, but I'm not sure. I never remember. And people have told me in the comments what it is, and I just never remember. But this is part of my Halloween decor, so that's going in the Halloween pile. Now, what's this? Okay, this, I guess, would be a table topper. But I was experimenting with leftover fabrics, scrap fabrics, and this ruler, the twister ruler or template, whatever it's called, that were all the rage about a year or so ago, a couple of years ago. Well, they may still be all the rage. I don't know. I bought most of the sizes of this. I made several projects using these rulers and or templates, and I just found them a little tedious after a while. So I didn't do a heck of a lot more, but this was one I think I was just trying to use up scrap fabric and get used to using the template. I did not do any elaborate quilting on it. It's just straight line. It's stitch in the ditch around each of the squares that are here. So this could be gifted. This definitely could be gifted. So put it in this pile. Okay, I'm getting things just a little mixed up here. All right. Now, I think these are more quilts. What I did was I grabbed just a stack of stuff that was in my in the Lucy room where I stack everything up. This was my version of a Drunkard's Path kind of quilt. I was playing with Drunkard's Path. I don't know if this followed a pattern. I don't think it did. It's not bad. Again, a lot of straight line. Oh no, this quilting on this was done on Lucy. Pretty dense. I have a tendency to sometimes over quilt. Too dense. I like this one, but I think this is one that would be worthy enough to give as a gift. This one. Okay, this is one I made in a class, and it has my mother's name in it. She didn't make it. She's never quilted, or she never quilted at all. But I made this in class, and I'll remember that the instructor, when I picked my fabrics for this, it's a very modern quilt. I was using K Facet, and she tried to talk me out of it because she said, no, that'll never work. Well, it did, as far as I'm concerned. Yes, it's a bit on the wild side, especially the border up here at the top. The rest of it is K Facet. I like it. And here's the back. Yeah, wild. Love that fabric. I can't remember what the name of that fabric was, but I love that. But anyways, after I got it all done, she looked at it and said, yeah, actually, it does work. Thank you very much. If I was the kind of person to go, I told you so. Well, I am that kind of person. I told you so. But anyways, I like this one. But as far as quilting was concerned, it looks like I used a variegated thread. I don't know if that's showing up in this. And I just did walking foot with the serpentine stitch. But that one I like. And again, potential for a gift. Now, this one,
Okay, this one I'm not so certain on. This was, I never had done one in this shape before. It's a small table runner, could be a table topper. The butterflies are appliqued on, they were done in with the embroidery machine. It's a little wonky on the borders. This one doesn't have a binding per se. It's again one of those ones you turn inside out to do. I love the fabric that's in it, the butterfly fabric, and I was trying to add a little personal touch with the embroidered butterflies as well. It might have been a little too much. You know, I give it a good steaming and to get the wrinkles out of it. And yes, I think it has the potential to be a gift. This is a wall hanging, and I actually labeled it. I made it in 2021. And it was from a panel that you cut up in a certain way. It's called Cityscapes. It was by, I believe, Northcott. Very popular fabric at the time. In fact, Walter made a shirt for himself out of this same fabric. I really like it. It did hang on the wall in our guest bedroom until I replaced it with a different quilt in there. Yeah, this one I'd like to hang on a wall again if I had a space for it. This is not one I'm going to gift to somebody, as I think I want to keep it because it is a little bit unique for me in the style of things I do. So that's a keeper. Now, I have a big basket right here, and I can't remember what's in here. I think I was organizing things at one time for the possibility of, yes. Okay, these are placemats. Well, it's one placemat. This was totally done with scraps, and I was fooling around. I think I probably used the embroidery machine in the center. It's one of those things that if I need a placemat for something, I only have one of these. I don't know. I think I used some of these underneath the grow lights out there. So, yeah, we'll hang on to that. I'm not going to gift that to anybody. Now, this bag says table runners. So there's a couple of things in here. Okay, there's this. I bought the ruler for this, a template. It was a bit of a bitch to make. Interesting, design. I think I could have chosen my colors a little better to get a better effect with it. But it is a table runner, and it's kind of reversible because I did this on the back. I guess I pieced? No, I didn't piece. That's not pieced. That must have been part of the fabric design. But basically you could, use either side, whatever grabs your fancy with this. I don't think I'd give it as a gift. I think I'll hang on to it for myself because there's some problems I'm looking here. Quilting on it was just done serpentine walking foot across it. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, maybe you're thinking I'm being a little super critical of my work, but I am. Actually, I'm kind of seeing how I have progressed.
So I'll be doing a series of those as the weeks go on. It's a way of, basically it's kind of a combination of a trunk show and me organizing all the stuff I've got because I have forgotten what things I have made since I started quilting. So yeah, it serves two purposes. Okay, so the YouTube of the week is by a lady that I just interviewed, and that interview will be live by the time you see this video. And that's Amy Dement. Lovely, lovely person. Love her personality, and it definitely comes through on her YouTube channel as well. And so I'm going to show that her YouTube channel to you right now. This week's YouTube video or channel comes from Amy Dement, and Amy Dement is somebody that I just finished interviewing, and a very, very talented and interesting person. And her YouTube channel is the same, a direct reflection of who she is. So on her particular channel, what are you going to find? Well, we've talked about some of this already in the interview, but here's what it looks like. And if we go to her playlist, you get a sense of what she talks about: weekend updates, story time, hot topics. She has only a few videos so far, but she's only recently started this channel, so it will grow, as you know from what we talked about in the interview. But she runs very professional interviews, and she's got a very personable personality that I'm sure you will love. And yeah, do check out Amy's YouTube channel. It's worth the checkout. So do be sure to check out the interview I did with Amy as well. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But before I do that, I have a subscriber's quilt of the week, and this one comes from Ellen Holschbach. I hope I said Ellen's name right. I think we've seen one of her creations before. She has sent one, but here is another one for you to enjoy. This week's subscriber's quilt comes from Ellen Holschbach. Hope I said your name right, Ellen. And Ellen sent this beautiful creation to us, and she says, started this quilt back in 2003 when my son Timothy left for college. Intended for a graduation gift, now 20 years later, Tim and his wife will be receiving it for their 7th wedding anniversary. The deer blocks were taken from a former quilt of his. The rest I added and quilted, mostly straight line stitching and thread painting in the deer blocks. Sending you 2 pictures. One is a close-up of the quilting. Let us see that. There we go. Red corner blocks have antlers embroidered on them, and the center beige square has a deer embroidered on it. The leaves are also embroidered. 2 lessons learned from doing this. Machine embroidery on a quilt is a pain in the butt and doesn't always turn out. I know how you feel about that. The other is don't use flannel as a backing. Makes maneuvering the quilt difficult. So this is really quite beautiful and unique. And yes, it did probably take you a long time with doing the embroidery and the whole bit, but the quilting is lovely that you have on here. And I think your son and his wife are going to absolutely love this. Well done. Thank you, Ellen. So, referring back to the shop hop, as you know, the shop hop were with each shop you went to, you got a piece of a pattern for a quilt. And they showed you the finished quilt in their stores. And I had some problems, as you know, with these pieces, but I have it all sorted out now, and I have not started working on the quilt. That's down the road, but I thought I'd share this particular pattern with you. This week's future project is one that I just picked up in bits and pieces at the shop hop that I had gone to. And this is what the final project is supposed to look like, and it's sort of a sampler quilt, but the blocks themselves are framed within what look like spools. A fairly simple design, but it could be very effective. I think this will be a great project to use with scraps as well, or I could use coordinating, say, a fat quarter bundle or something like that with it. I haven't decided yet, and I'm not sure when I'll get to it. Now, the one thing about this, as you know, if you saw the video I did about the shop hop, the pieces were a little mixed up. I had a little trouble sorting them out, but I think I have it all sorted out now so I can get on with it. And even though it's 9 spools here in the diagram, there's really only 5 different blocks that need to be made. 4 of them are repeated, and then there's one in the center which is unto itself. So I'm kind of looking forward to doing this. I think it's going to be kind of fun. It'll make a small wall hanging, I think. I'm not sure what the dimensions are, whether they did say or not on it. No, it doesn't really matter. But anyways, that's a project I've got for some time in the near future. Okay, so that takes me to the Idiot Quilter Presents, and as I told you already, it's already up. The interview I did with Amy Dement. And well, it was a delightful interview. I really enjoyed my time with Amy, talking to her. Great person, very, very talented quilter. And she's got quite a perspective on the creative process as well. And you'll hear all about those in the interview. But for now, here's a little teaser. I'm loving how you are framed in this shot. That beautiful quilt to the one side, the smaller pieces to the other, and I love the little sign just by the side of your head. Hello, beautiful. Now tell me, this is not by accident, is it?
No, no, it's not. It's not. I when I moved into this room as a studio, I knew I wanted to do quilting in here, but I also, had the YouTube idea banging around in my head.
Right.
And I have a good friend who is she's a beauty and lifestyle YouTuber. And I, was looking at her background and her behind the scenes and talking to her. I was like, okay, thinking about how can I make, and also I'm in some Zoom guilds. And so I was like, I want it to not be boring. And I was like, okay, how can I frame it? How can I make it both practical and visually pleasing on a camera? And I wanted to be surrounded by all of the pieces, and I've got all my little toys up here. And so that's for me, but the framing of it is for camera. It's not an accident.
No, and
every piece of it is intentional, but also part of me.
So I hope you'll check that interview out. Okay, so that takes me to online fabric stores. Now, again, referring back to the shop hop, there was another store that I did not know existed called Bolts and Bobbins. And if you saw the video of the shop hop, that was the first store we visited, and it was a delight. Lovely, lovely store. Nice staff once I broke the ice with them, and good selection. Price-wise, a little on the high end, but nevertheless still a good selection, and I will definitely go back there again another time. But in the meantime, I thought, well, they do have an online presence. They do have an online store, and I thought I would take this opportunity, since it's in recent history when I went to their actual store, to talk about their website as well. This week's online quilt store is called Bolts and Bobbins, and it's in my area, and I didn't know anything about it. It was a great discovery during the shop hop. And so I already talked to you about that, and I already showed you pictures of the inside, but let's take a look at their web page as well. So their front page shows you classes, notions, events, and fabric, and also has new products, and they have a newsletter you can sign up for. And then it subdivides the products down to books, fabric, kits, notions, panels, patterns, pre-cuts, and sale items. So let's take a look at their fabric right off the bat. And they have cotton, flannel, and Kim Dahel and Tulip Pink. And over on the left-hand side, you can see how many they have of each of these. The cottons, there's 1,357, which is a really good selection. So let's jump right into cotton fabrics and see what we have to pick from. Well, they have quite a few different ones, and the prices seem to be about between $18.95 and $19.95 a meter. Some are a little higher, $21.50 I see, but that is not unreasonable, and there are 46 pages of these fabrics as well. So there's quite a few things here to pick from. Now they do list it by brand as well, and they have quite a few different brands. So let's take a look very quickly at, do they have Northcott? I'm sure they do, because I'm sure I saw it. These are not in alphabetical order. Here we go, Northcott. Let's take a look at the Northcott selection. And they've got a lot of the old standby favorites like Toscana. But they also have some newer ones as well, like Dublin Sunshine, Universe, and of course Christmas ones as well. And again, prices here are not bad at all. That one that said $26.95 is a wide back, which is about the going price for wide back as well. So a good selection of fabrics online at reasonable prices. Now, I wonder what their shipping is like. Let's see if they have something about shipping, maybe down here. They do not. Let's look in their FAQ. Shows you where they're located, but I'm not seeing anything about shipping. So let's go back to the shop and let's pick a fabric and make a fake order and see what that will cost us. And I'm going to take a couple of meters of that, add to cart, and proceed to checkout. Okay, there it is there. Online checkout is currently disabled. Oh, okay. So it looks to me like they don't ship, which is a problem. But they do say to contact them. So maybe if you contact them and they have their contact information listed here and their business hours, maybe you can find out then if they'll ship it to you. That's a little bit of a disappointment because they have a really great selection. Okay, so they do offer classes, it looks like. Well, nothing listed there, so I guess currently nothing. Let's check their calendar. Nothing in the calendar either. So what I'm getting a sense of here is really, and this is unfortunate, this is more an advertisement for what they have in the store rather than the ability to shop online, because that's been disabled for some reason. Maybe the next time I pop into the store, I'll ask them about that and see if they have plans to open this back up or if this is the way it's just going to be. They do offer patterns as well, so seem to have a good selection there. But it's really just a shame that you can't order online. I think they're missing out on quite a lot of business here. Let's see, thread. And they don't sell any thread either. So either this is a relatively new venture for them, being online or not, or it's just something that they're using more or less to show what you will find if you go to their actual store. And the store is worth a visit. But of course, if you live in another part of Canada or the United States, that's going to be difficult. So that's bolts and bobbins. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this episode of the Idiot Quilter. And just a reminder, the retreat comes up on October the 21st. You know about my expectations for all of that and the due date for a picture of your favorite creation. That all has to come to me by October 14th. And of course, Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, as we always do every Wednesday, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So, I hope you have a great week. Do check out So Chatty this week. We're going to talk about YouTube etiquette from a subscriber's point of view and from a creator's point of view as well. And of course, Stephen and Walter Live will be back on Sunday at its regular time of 4 p.m. Eastern. So, lots of opportunity to see you all again. Have a great week. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.